80 teams,
One mini league.
one podcast,
Friends of friends, family, and listeners.
all together for one prize and one prize only.
Pints at the end of the season.
You are now tuned in to FPL
Chip Chat. Hello, Chip Chatters, and welcome back to another episode of FPL Chip Chat. As always, I'm joined by co-host Charles, but we've got a slight twist for you this week. He's actually in the room with me, so hopefully a bit better audio quality from his end, Charles?
Well, hey, absolutely. I've made the trek across London's just before lockdown. Don't worry, there's only two of us. For now, I should add, we'll be joined by some very special guests later on in the episode. Let's get things cracking with a bit of table talk.
Well. How are the turntables?
It's been quite an exciting table this week, Charles. I've been taking a look. To be honest, some of the leaders from last week still are very much near the top of the table. Top at the moment is FPL Talking Points, a fellow podcastee. He scored 75 this week, so top of the table on 164. Following him closely in the silver medal spot, we've got Nazim Flowers, who was last week's leader, who came in with 54 points. And then Stefan De Jong, this will do, in third place with 156, rising the ranks this week.
It appears the only player perhaps in the entire league. No, there's another one. But all I want to say is Jack Reed and Cameron Clear are the two players in the entire 80 full Chip Chat division who have not moved a place over the last 2 weeks.
There you go. Charles Wade Palmer there, giving you live the table talk updates.
Now let's go from the bottom of the league to see how things are faring there. We've got Monty and Arthur FC at the bottom with 60 points, gaining on Reese Durbin with Egg Fried Reese. And Aryan Singh's Iron winners are...
Not winning. Maybe next week.
Yes, I'm afraid they're not winning just yet.
How's our Monza brothers getting on after last week's torrid performance?
Well, he has moved up to 71st place with one of his teams and 67th place with the other.
Very interesting, Monza. And there we have it. A lot of change up at the top. How was your game week, Charles?
My game week was fantastic. I'd like to go over a few things that were mentioned in last week's episode. But firstly, as we're on table talk, most relevantly, I would not be in 20th place had I actually done what I said. Now, the irony is not lost on me that last week's episode was titled Go With Your Gut and Not With the Stats, and yet I bottled my decision to captain Calvert-Lewin, and just out of fear of missing out on Aubameyang, I could not afford to fall further behind in game week 2 after people had already captained Salah. So I have lived to regret that, having seen him bang in a hat-trick and Aubameyang get just the one assist.
So, would you say lessons have been learnt for next time, or do you think you'll fall foul of going back on your pod decision again?
Lessons have been learnt to go with my gut and not with the stats.
Definitely, we don't like stats here on FPL Chip Chat.
How about you?
I scored a measly 49 points this game week. The average was 59, so below par. Had a terrible week, to be honest. I've slipped almost into the 3 millionth sector overall, so pretty embarrassing from one of the hosts of FPL Chip Chat, to be honest. I've got a raft of zeros at the back with McCarthy and Doherty. Liverpool saved my blushes with that clean sheet a little bit. And to be honest, my big gambles of Fernandes, Willian, Werner just really didn't pay off. One man I would like to stick by, though, Che Adams. He's not going to be my hot pick this week, obviously, based on recent form, but the man is joint top for the most big chances so far in the first two game weeks, so I think he's suffering from not being able to eat his dinner and put away those chances.
On a striker front, you were right with one call and wrong with the other. You made Mitrovic your hot pick, despite people getting frustrated with him last week, but you explained it was only because he played internationally midweek and he got his 2 goals against Leeds. But you also rubbished Bamford in the same breath turns out it was a bit premature.
Yeah, they went from playing 1 up top to 2 up top with Rodrigo coming on. I think it was about half time or so. Slight formation change there from Bielsa. Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, slight formation change there from Bielsa. As always, the tactician tinkering around, playing that classic 4-4-2. So caught me out a little bit there.
I bet you're as surprised as I was. Last week when we were discussing Jota's absence, we didn't really know what was going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I replaced him with Podence, you replace him with Fernandes.
Yep.
And days later, we see he's made his move to Liverpool.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Housemate Jake has him, and he actually still has him in his team. He's now donning that Liverpool shirt on FPL. So, as a Liverpool fan, I'd like to get your opinion on this, actually. So, what do you think his role is for Liverpool? Obviously, you've got Mane and Salah priced in at 12 and Jota at a very slim 6.5 million. Is he come in to challenge them, or has he come in as a replacement for if one of them gets injured? We were chatting in quite some length about this earlier today.
He'll certainly be challenging them on the training ground, letting them know that their positions are now up for grabs. They've got competition in their midst, along with Minamino up top. But yeah, you're right to think that he's very much there for the sake of insurance, security. Cup games as well, League, FA Cup. Klopp likes to put out a weakened side for those, save his best players for the league. But injuries will happen. He'll step in then. International breaks also. I know he plays for Portugal, but there could be something going across the world which isn't happening in Europe. And furthermore, he's only 23, so I think it's a case of building for when the best players go over the cliff edge as they approach their 31s, 32s, and you'll have a ready-made star in the waiting.
Putting our FPL hat on for a second, though, we obviously don't care about cups. We don't care about Champions League. Definite out, I think. Not much of a incentive there from an FPL perspective for me.
Certainly not. You want all your players to be getting 60 minutes, and he's too expensive to sit on the bench.
Definitely. Right, moving onwards.
That's Chip Chat.
So, as always, on FPL Chip Chat, we love a chat, as you know, and we love a chip. It's been quite an exciting start of the season. I think a few panickers in our midst in the league. Last year we had, I think it was 2 people play their chips, and this week we've got 7 chips played. That's 10% of you guys. What are you doing?
There's lots of talk across social media within the FPL community and the podcast
Community.
the suggestion of people using wildcards in week 2, and I thought that was kind of like a mythical beast. How could you have set your team up so poorly for the first week? That's something you need to resort to wildcard, because in my opinion, it's a rash decision all round. Now, we've got 7 chips this week, 6 of them are wildcards, and one of them is a triple captain. The wildcards are, I think all of them have Fernandes in, which is hardly surprising, given that Manchester United didn't play the first week. But guess who got the triple armband?
Well, we're talking about Fernandes. Was he given the special triple armband this week?
He wasn't. It was Aubameyang, and that was by EA Dons. And it's not a great choice with 15 points. It would have been better off putting it on Morpay, who got 16.
Not the best, but also one of those which are really hard to play. I think that triple captain, 5 points isn't too bad. I've definitely done worse in the past, handing that special armband round my team, definitely. Well, better luck for next time. 1 chip down for these guys. I think that kind of works to our advantage despite league position. Interesting fact, actually, the team which got the highest amount of points in the first game week would have scored you 25 points this game week. So just goes to show how the beast is changing every week in the FPL world. The other people using the chips of note in our league,
Nazim Flowers. Now that's 2 in 2 weeks.
This guy, I think he definitely wants our September pint, Charles. I've just had a look where he's from as well, in South Africa. That's going to be an interesting one to ship out. Do you know any South African beers?
I don't, but this will be on your credit card, I think.
Okay, looking forward to that one, Nazim. Maybe keep those up.
South African breweries, do get in touch. Help a podcast out.
So he's, despite playing that second card, he has dropped into second place, unfortunately. So who knows, maybe a free hit the next week. let's see, Nazim. If you're listening, obviously let us know if you've got any strategy. We'd love to hear from you. Looking down in third place in that bronze medal spot, we had Stefan de Jong. This will do. It definitely did will do. He played his wild card and landed a nice 82 points for himself.
You must be pretty happy if you've got more than 150 points across the 2 weeks.
He came in great with Martinez in goal. I mean, 13 points. That looks to be a real shrewd signing, I think, at 4.5 million. Definitely. He's someone that will be on my radar if McCarthy continues to get 0 points for me each week.
And playing for a team like Villa, he's bound to be raking in the points for making saves.
As you know, love to get a bit of Reading in the podcast. When he spent that year for us, he's a real shot stopper. One for the cameras, definitely, Martinez.
Lamptey, as we're just looking at here, he had another outstanding performance and Brighton got the win this time, so much more deserved. But he's now got a yellow flag over his name. I want to know how you'd approach players who are usually starters. How do you approach it when there's only a 75% chance of them playing?
I think you look at the form, you look at the fixtures. If they both suit, you put them in, and at the end of the day, you've got, hopefully you've got a bench that will play those 90 minutes anyways to replace them. So I'll take my chances. I think 75% is good enough for me. If someone said you had a 75% chance of winning £1 million, I think you'd take it, would you not?
You would. It just depends if you'd get 3. It just depends if there's 100% chance of getting 3 points off the bench.
Mm-hmm. That may be a player we go on to discuss later, but I'll get onto that in a bit more detail. Let's continue onwards, I think.
Yes, before we talk about the pros, let's talk about the cons. And with that, it can only mean one thing. Wicks, take out the trash, mate.
Wicks, it's time to take out the trash.
It is ex-Wolves player Matt Doherty, valued at 6 million. I've had a look at Tottenham the first 2 games. Attacking wise, I'm a little bit convinced, but defensively, I'm definitely not convinced. They don't seem to be one of the more defensive sides, i.e. in terms of keeping clean sheets this season. And he seems to have definitely lost some of his attacking attacking capabilities that he had within the Wolves side. Maybe he's just taking some time to settle in, but just not overly convinced, especially at 6 million. You've got some really exciting options which are cheaper, like a Castagne. He's basically plays more like a winger than a defender and comes in 0.5 million cheaper. I think as well, when you've got someone like Serge Aurier, who's always going to be coming on after 60 minutes to replace you, that's I'm going to be a bit stingy with Matt, and he is in my trash this week.
Very interesting. I can see why, as a fellow owner of him. He hasn't come up with the goods in the last 2 game weeks. It should be said that he had an assist ruled out because the set-up to the play, Son was offside. He set up Kane before Southampton got their first goal. So I was so frustrated when that was robbed of him. But his temperament seems to be getting the best of him, as I think that's a yellow card in both of the games now. And so I look at him as one of 2 players who I could get cheaper alternatives for and be quite happy with. But he does have Newcastle for the next match at home and Man U away, which doesn't look good, but West Ham at home as well. So I won't be making any moves on him just yet, but I can see exactly why he is your trash this week.
In the bin, Matt. And Charles, as always on the pod, I know you like a little trip down the shopping district. Who are you putting in that world-famous basket this week?
Oi, Wadey, who's in your trolley this week?
In my world-famous trolley this week is going in James Rodriguez. And in true me fashion, I couldn't wait to see any changes in prices this week. And he didn't actually go up. So my speediness was not rewarded as such. But what a performance he had against West Brom. He really dictated the play. And what a good performance he had on the first week as well. Last season, I would never have tripled up on Everton. Can you imagine tripling up on Everton? But I reluctantly have done so with Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin already in my team. and I think that's a three-pronged attack that shouldn't be dismissed by any accounts. Very exciting. Fixtures are Crystal Palace and Brighton next. Liverpool in the Merseyside derby is the only tough one, really, up until United in game week 8. My fear as a Liverpool fan is that this is the first time Everton pose a threat in quite some time, but let's face it, this is Liverpool and they can brush anyone aside on their day. So yes, in my trolley, Rodriguez, I've now got a toffee colour trolley.
Sucking on those Werther's originals, definitely there, Charles. I have to disagree with you, actually. He's a player I did consider bringing in, obviously at a calm 7.5 million instead of Willian maybe this week, obviously being a slightly cheaper option. I think those difficulty ratings in FPL lie to you a little bit. If you look at Palace, if you look at Brighton, if you look at Liverpool, probably between the three of them, they kept up there with some of the most clean sheets of last year. We've seen Palace really strong out the blocks, really strong defensively as well. And I guess similar could be said for Brighton, to be honest. Liverpool, I mean, doesn't need any introduction in terms of their defensive capabilities. I did look at him and I did potentially see a couple of shutouts there from three relatively defensive teams. So he's not really going to come into my radar until maybe the game week 6 against the leaky Southampton. So he's one to watch for me, I think.
I can take that from my point of view. I regretted not jumping in on Fernandes after January last season, and I think from an FPL side of things, this could be a very similar situation, so I'd rather have him than not.
Form, not fixtures, indeed.
Now next up, before we get our star-studded guests in, we are going to turn to a bit of let the beer do the talking. Now these are some quick-fire interviews with some Chip Chat players, all in the surroundings of a boozer.
I'm here in the Wellington pub, Waterloo, London, joined by last season's 2 pints buy-in mini-league winner, Jack Reed. This season, Jack, manager of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, and P, is sitting pretty in the top 5 of the table. Jack, are you impressed with your first start of the season?
Listen, lads, it's all about having a beer before making a transfer decision. Of course, Bruno Fernandes is coming in. I'm going for the top spot again. FC Salah, I'm sending shots for you, my friend. Just know I'll be taking that spot within the fortnight. Thank you very much. And to answer your question, Charles, very happy but not quite satisfied because obviously number 1 spot belongs to A, B, C, D, E, F, C.
Tell me about your strategy last season. You were sitting pretty much mid-table throughout the most of it until we came back from lockdown and I went from top place to, well, second. How the hell did you manage that? And was it all planned?
Well, it's all about the tactics. If anyone, some people sign up to these magazines and they pay for stuff for the tactics and whatnot. Hey, get on the subreddit, FPL Fantasy League. You got all the tips and tactics you need. Otherwise, DM me on Instagram at jackreed_. £10 a DM and I'll give you all the advice in the world.
And there was me thinking that you just didn't care about the league whatsoever. And so that's why we were shocked last season because, quite frankly, you excelled. Not least thanks to Bruno Fernandes. How much do you owe him right now?
Hey, Big Bruno is a star of the show. My guy will be up for a Ballon d'Or in 5 years. You've heard it here first on the pods. Just know if you don't have Bruno Fernandes in, then what are you doing? You might as well not only retire from FPL, but just retire from your job and retire from life.
So do you have him in your team already?
He's swiftly coming in the next few days. Saturday he will be swiftly coming in. See you later, Aubameyang. You've done me proud, but not quite. You're an Arsenal asset, so as such, obviously you're nowhere on the class of a Man United asset. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes in week 2. If you don't do it, what are you doing?
It should be said that we are currently speaking between game weeks 1 and 2. So you got a goal from Aubameyang, and that's the plan. He was a placeholder for Bruno Fernandes, and now you've got 2.5 million to play with, or 1.5 million?
Spot on, Charles. We've got a cheeky 1.5. I'll also let you know that Danny Ings is on the way out because he's a scummer, as we know. Anthony Martial, absolute weapon that he is. He's coming in. He's going to bang it. And that is that. Say no more.
I'm joined by FPL competitor in the Chip Chat League, Emil Larby, in Canary Wharf, London. Now, this is Emil's first FPL season. Now, I want to know how he went about choosing his game week 1 and subsequently 2 team selection. Emil, how did you go about it?
I mean, it was more so just who performs on a regular basis, who scores the goals, who assists, who plays action within the game in a general kind of feeling, you know? So I just went towards that and picked the team that I thought was more suitable to just the action in general, you know?
So how did you feel about game week 1? Did it give you the points that you thought you deserved, that you expected?
I mean, I slept on a few people. Obviously, I left the people that I thought that would do good on the bench because I didn't know what I was doing. But we got there in the end. Like, it's game 2. It's a new week. So we learn from our mistakes, you know, and we move on. But I feel like I'm ready now. Game 2, week 2. I'm going to take over the whole thing. I'm going to end up first.
Wow! Big talk from the man. Remind us what your team name is.
EA Dons.
EA Dons. Now, where's that come from?
I don't know. Honestly, I just made it up. But we're going to win. This whole week is ours, you know? So everyone got to watch out. We're doing our thing. It's just action, you know?
Now, are there 1 or 2 players who you think will take you to victory, as you say, top place in the FPL Chip Chat League?
I'd say Aubameyang 1, but second I would say Jimenez. Yeah, Jimenez will do the job. He's very slept on, but he knows how to score a few goals and just action. You know, I said this before. It's action. This is all I care about, action. And I feel like he'll be involved, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
At 8.5 million, at least last season, Jimenez was a popular man among FPL players. And I think some people, for some reason, me included, had some reservations about this upcoming season, whether he could reproduce the same form. But you heard it here first. Emil's confident. He already got a goal last in game week 1, and he's ready to see him and Aubameyang take him to the top tier of the table. Now, Wicks and I at Chip Chat Towers wish you the best of luck. I'm not sure how quickly your first place standing will come around, but we'll be here for you.
Man, you gotta speak into existence. I'm gonna make it happen. We're gonna be first on the fucking league, and let's get it. Week 2, let's go.
Thank you for that, boys, as always. Good to hear from fellow league members about what their opinions are and who's on their radar for the upcoming game weeks.
Hashtag as always.
As always, indeed. Now we go on to one of my favourite bits on the pod, Wicks' hot picks.
Wicks' hot picks.
So, hot picks this week, Charles. I'm playing a slightly different tactic, to be honest. So, I know we've previously spoken about your favourite from last season, Lamptey. I've actually taken out my trash of Doherty, and I've scrimped a bit. I've put some money in my bank, and I've bought in Lamptey at a cool 4.5 million. I saw the yellow flag. A knock 75%. I don't mind about that. One thing I would like to point out about this guy is, aside from just how attacking he is, if you actually look at last game, you know, the famous 59th minute,
Yes.
They actually kept a clean sheet, Brighton, and Lamptey was unfortunate to be 2 minutes short of that 59-minute window. That would have seen him with an extra 5 points, obviously, for keeping a clean sheet. So, on the face of it, people see this man with a score of 4 just from his assist, but he would have been on 9 at the very least, including maybe some bonus points as well. So I think definitely don't sell yourself short on that one. 2 assists in 2 games. Could you want anything more?
Outstanding value, and I'm more than happy to see Tariq Lamptey being elevated to the mightiest heights of Wicks' hot picks this week.
Keep your eye on that one after my successes of Mitrovic last week. Let's see if I can get 2 for 2.
2 for 2 indeed. Now this is the moment which will throw up most discussion, I think, among most FPL players this game week, and that's who to captain. So let's go over to Captain's Corner.
Oi son, you're the captain now. Here's the armband.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain speaking.
Charles, it's been a bit of a tricky one this week. I did have a plan. Obviously, Fernandes to bring him in was part of my plan, and then KDB was meant to be the next change for Aubameyang. My only problem is Aubameyang's got 2 in 2, and I don't want to break that. So I've not made that change, and that's kind of left me a bit stuck because KDB was going to be my captain. So I've been looking around who has the best chance. And I've gone with the main man for the Blues, Werner, up top. He's got the baggies away who have been very leaky at the start of this season. And, you know, Chelsea have been very hot and cold. Unlucky last week, obviously, to go down to 10 men at half-time and then lose Havertz, who was basically Werner's yin to his yang. So obviously he'll be back in against newly promoted West Brom. I'm hoping this man will deliver the goods with the C on his arm.
I think looking at West Brom away, I think, that's a great decision. For me, I didn't mention earlier who made way for my trolley basket addition. Checking out for Rodriguez was actually Aubameyang. So that saved me a lot of money, which is now in the bank. 6.5 million in my bank. I've never had so much. I can't believe it. Havertz, I could have easily got rid of, but he hasn't been playing brilliantly. And I don't think he'll set the world alight against West Brom away either. But I do think he will come away with something, so I won't be hasty there. He stays in my team for another week. My captain's armband, I can't look beyond Son after his 4 goals. Do I think he'll repeat that? No. But I'm going to put the armband on Son. Newcastle at home. I think that's the best fixture out of any players I have. Everyone else is away. My Liverpool lads are at home to Arsenal. Son, you've got my armband.
Very good there. I think we picked 2 players that, you know, they've definitely got the potential to blank. But as you've seen last week with Son, I think Werner's the same, to be honest. You know, there are hat tricks in them, definitely. You know, they get 1 and that confidence gets going and they're looking for 2, 3, maybe even 4. So I think those would be 2 interesting picks to see on. Potentially differentials for this week, I think, especially with regard to having Aubameyang, Salah, Fernandes, KDB, etc. sort of the mainstays of that armband. So that's definitely one to watch. I think this is a first for podcast history. We've got 4 of us here, less than the group of 6 today on FPL Chip Chat, and we've got a bit of video recording for you.
True.
Got my 2 housemates here, fresh to the 2 Pints League this year, FPL Chip Chat. I've got Jake on the right of me and housemate Henry that you've heard a lot about on the left as well. How you doing, boys?
Very well.
Yeah, not
Thanks
too
for
bad.
having us. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, pleasure.
We should start by saying Jake's brought the Peroni to the party and
Classy gent.
Henry's gone a bit more left field with the Beavertown Gamma.
Is this what, if you win, you boys will be asking for? A craft beer for Jake and a Peroni.
Whatever you can fork out.
Yeah. I think a Peroni.
Probably not much between you. Especially the old stubbies.
I think especially with the photo we posted him today, very classy, wasn't it? In the East India Club.
Couldn't swap it out for some wine, could you?
If you fancy, I'm sure we could do a little wine.
Chardonnay.
Yeah, a Chardonnay for Jake. There we are.
I mean, first week I can't actually really remember. This one's been pretty solid. Al Wicks kept saying that I copied his team, and I've ended up quite far ahead. So clearly just seen what not to do.
Very embarrassing between the 2 of us. I think we had about 2 players were the difference between the 2 sides. Back line exactly the same, but those 2 players were Kane and then
Ings.
Which proved to be about a 25-point differential in the end. So Jake's storming ahead, top of the league in the flatmates.
Yeah, the strikers really carried me through there. Got 3 double-digit strikers, so
Who are they then?
happy with that. I've got Mitrovic, Kane, and Ings.
Very strong front line there, very strong.
How does your front line compare, Henry?
Mine did well this week as well, actually. Got Ings in, about 12 points, was it? Something like that? 2 goals.
Something like that.
Mope, 2 goals and assist. And who was the other one? Can't even remember now.
Werner with me, mate.
Oh, yeah, Werner,
I see more to come from him. He's my captain with the armband for next week.
Look lively, but not kind of...
Are you doing the same for next week? Is he getting your armband?
Maybe Son against Newcastle, I think. Looks in good form.
Bit like us then. That's our division over this side of things. We thought might have been differentials, but apparently not.
Nice. Same all around, is it? I'm going to go Harry.
Harry Kane.
He's got those 4 assists. It's time for 4 goals.
Mm-hmm. And do you think, we haven't discussed yet, Bale arriving in at 9.5 million? I think that's quite pricey in my mind. Is that going to disrupt the Spurs attacking line, having Bale in?
I think it will be good. I think, as we discussed, Son and Harry are going to keep their place up top. So
who's he going to be coming in for then?
I'm not sure actually. They've got the two holders, Wicks and Dombele.
Well, he's more of a winger, right? Which I kind of see Son to be.
Yeah, but Son's just off the striker as well.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, Lamela, he played a bit on Saturday.
Okay.
And Dele Alli on his way out.
Potentially. Do you think he warrants that 9.5 million, or a bit too expensive?
It's too much for me to buy him, but I think on the basis of reputation, it's fair enough.
But he hasn't played for so long, isn't it? It's a big gamble. I would have put him just above Jimmy Rodriguez in terms of value.
Yeah,
a little A, maybe an A.
Did Rodriguez score a bicycle kick in the Champions League final?
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. But 2 million is quite a lot between them.
It is.
Got to be tight with those pinching those pockets, definitely.
So, as an Arsenal fan, you have no problem having Tottenham players in your team.
You've got to do what you've got to do. Try and keep it to a minimum, but I offset it with Aubameyang and Holding. So.
Mm-hmm. So FPL reputation coming before club support there.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I mean, you don't have that with obviously Reading and Pompey being a few leagues too far down. They don't do a League One fancy, do they?
Well, I'm not...
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Funny you mentioned that. I've got no teams. I've got no problem tripping up with Everton players, but the Southampton player will get near my side.
Yeah. Who's your rival?
Supporting Fulham.
Chelsea. You've got a captain.
He's got Havertz and Werner. Yeah.
And Kepa as well.
Tripled up on the
triple rival
position.
Not true.
If I went with Fulham, I don't think I'd be anywhere near the top.
Have you got any cottages?
Lamina on the bench.
Okay. Token Fulham player then for Henry.
Is that what we'd call an enabler? Is he a cheap boy?
Yeah. 4 mil, 4.5.
90 minutes every week?
Yeah, it's been last weekend.
Just got a new goalie, haven't you?
Ariella, yeah.
So,
that's pretty good, but defence just
leaky.
Mm-hmm. I did mention about Ream. It seems he's now a mainstay on the bench, it seems, after last week.
Yeah. Doyle sent back last time.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also looking at a centre-back, haven't you? From Sassuolo?
Yeah, I can't remember his name there.
You might shore the ship up.
Yeah, as always, Jake hot on the latest transfer rumours on Twitter.
Scrolling.
All day, every day. That's what we use in the house for the latest transfer gossip. Jake Barnard's your man.
And what a window it's been.
Yeah, I think, we discussed earlier about players playing their wildcards. We actually had 10% of our league, so 7 people play a wildcard. I think with the window still open, you've got players like Bale coming in. I think that's a bit too early to play when, almost anyone, we were talking of Messi even coming over, that has died down a little bit of late, I would say. But yeah, a bit too early for the wild card, I'd say, with everything wide open.
People jumping the gun, they're not getting the points in and they're flapping. So.
Yeah, panicking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not at that stage just yet.
Taking a few 4-point hits.
Yeah, I mean, when your dad, Big Dog X1, is above you, it's always a bit of a worry. He had a blinder putting Martinez in goal. As an ex-Arsenal player, any interest there at 4.5 million?
It's just that Villa defence, you can't trust it. But good value for money.
Mm-hmm. Local lad Mingsy at the heart of centre-back, Henry. Any interest?
You
Chippenham boy?
Down the park, didn't you?
Used to be batting him when I was 13.
Oh, yeah?
No, I've got no interest in Aston Villa at all.
No.
Hopefully they go down.
So how are you enjoying your FPL experience this year? Obviously, last year you said it was for kids, but here you are.
Yeah, you know what?
I caught him on Fancy Football Scout this morning at 8 o'clock.
Do it properly.
He's got a premium subscription. He's had to cancel his OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's all right for the first couple of weeks, but we'll see if I'm.
Thinks he's
if
going
I'm
to
near the
tail
top,
off.
if I'm near the top near Christmas, I might carry on. But
I guess you've got a bit of work opposition. Henry Blowfield Blowers in the league with his world famous. Where was he in the top 1,000? Was it or
181st?
181st finish. We've got FPL royalty in the league this year.
I have to get him on.
Yeah, is he local? I feel like we'll be doing a couple of pint deliveries that way.
Yeah, he's around Brixton Way, so.
Okay, well we'll have to get Blowers on. Probably one of our best FPL finishers, I'd say. I think that's everything for our big double guest extravaganza.
Such an extravaganza. Thank you, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Shall we do a little cheers to finish it off?
Chip Chat.
Chip Chat. As always, you can follow us on @FPL Chip Chat, all one word, @FPL Chip Chat on Twitter and Instagram. Always feel free to send us an email at fplchipchat@gmail.com and we'll get back to you on any questions you have in the world of FPL.
It's been very strange doing it face to face for the very first time. With lockdown measures forthcoming, I'm not sure if we'll be able to repeat it, but it's been lots of fun and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Ta-ta for now.